David Ault, and welcome to The Gathering. This week I am filming in beautiful Costa Rica at a place called Rythmia Life Advancement Center. Over the course of the last 3.5 years, I've been invited to come here and be a spiritual teacher during the week. But it's the most unique gig I've ever had because at night I participate in the ancient indigenous practices of participating with ayahuasca, the medicine, Mother Aya, as she is called. It's the most sacred of shamanic traditions, and it's something that I knew little about 4 years ago and now has changed my life. Doesn't have to be for you. You can have all kinds of judgments about it. I did as well. But I'm here to tell you that when you are able to take anything that is a judgment and to lean into and be willing to possibly explore it, if it's calling to you, do it. Because that's exactly what happened to me at this place. I don't know why I was fearful of it. I was never someone who did a lot of drugs. I was the most boring person. I never spent my money on alcohol because my poverty conscience was such that I remember when I was young, I didn't want to buy drinks in a bar because I wanted that money for something else and I was just going to piss it away. Excuse my crass language. So I was boring. But my addictions were different. They were more of a mental state. They were more of a shamed state of something much darker than a substance. And so we all have them. We all have this addictive thing. We all have this thing that pulls us from the essence of who and what we think we are. And so something like this, in terms of shamanic medicine, what does that mean? Didn't know anything about it, and I could already feel my built-in judgment around it. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself that I showed up anyway, that I said yes to the opportunity to teach. And then I was willing to be vulnerable enough to be that exposed in one of the most potent and powerful experiences that anyone could ever have, in front of everybody. And that's been my life these last 4 years. And if you know me, you know that the biggest changes in my life have happened in the last 4 years. They have been hard, they have been exquisite, they have been ripe, they have been painful, and they have been of bliss. And that's exactly the way the journey is sometimes, the dichotomy, the dualism that takes place within us. And I've come to learn that what's so beautiful about that ride is that it brings meaning to the statement, God is all that there is. You see, I've been a minister for 30 years. That's been a part of my philosophical tract. That's been the thing that I've taught. That has been the prayers that we've crafted and prayed together, that there is only one life, and that life is God's life, and that life is perfect, and that life is my life now. Those are the things that we would state. We recognize that there's only one power and one presence. Listen to what I just said. We recognize that there's only one power and one presence. I don't live that during a day-to-day existence. If I'm mad at something, if I'm afraid about something, if my ego is bruised, I'm not believing there's only one power and one presence. And you start to see that they're just words until something comes along. And if the intention is there, it takes you through an experience where you embody it. Can you imagine what life would be like if you unequivocally woke up every single day with the understanding that God is all that there is? It's what's happening. It's what's becoming more and more solid within me. And this last week just took it out into the ethers in a way that I never knew possible. I'm in bliss. Will it stay? It's up to me. And it isn't about trying to hold on to anything. It's about the realization that I allowed it in, that I got to do the work. What is the work? Step number 1, show me what I have become. It's one of the main intentions of this work with the medicine. Show me what I have become. What that means is it is a willing request to be shown what all of the lies have created. So all of the years of not feeling like I'm enough, I'm not enough of this or too much of that, or I'm not worthy, or I'm unlovable, you name it. Too fat, too thin, too this, too that, all of those things. When you say, show me what that has resulted in, then you are shown. You are shown the darkness. You are shown the fear. Because to be able to see it, to bear witness to it, is one of the key essentials, because you don't hate it, you love it. The only way that a true fear is dissolved is to turn to the fear and love it. The only way that a darkness is elevated is to bring light to it, not to turn from it and create more separation of darkness. So to show me what I have become. Someone said something brilliant this week, because a lot of those things have to do with the universal lies of being unworthy, not being good enough. And those are true. We all go through those things. We all have some percentage of that. But then to get it more and more and more granular, to just really get to the core of it, is this: I am separate. Think about that. Think about when you say, show me what I have become, from the belief of that dualistic choice. I am separate. And then you start to have the flashes of your life. You start to see all of the times that you have engaged in strengthening that lie. And you start to see the multitude of the belief systems within us that support that. I am separate. We learn that there is a split in the soul sometime between being in the womb and around 6 or 7 years old. Something happens. Some type of trauma, some type of disappointment, fear, you name it. It can go in all kinds of ranges. But when that thing happens, there's a split. And then the belief of I am separate is established. And it's supposed to work that way. It's not a fault of the soul. It's the curriculum. And then the path of self-awareness, of opening ourselves up in a conscious manner, becomes the journey. The second framework or intention is merge my soul, then, at all cost. The at all cost part is being willing to let the ego die. See, the ego is the thing that substantiates the separatism, that makes it valid for us. It's the voice that says, you might not want to do that. It's the voice that wants to protect the fear, to protect the belief. And so to say, merge my soul, bring me back to the origin of my essential self, my oneness, my godness, at all cost. That's going to require for many, many, many of us to make decisions about letting things go, about truly leaning into our purpose on the planet, whatever our karma yoga is, whatever it is our service to the world. And then last, it's heal my heart. Let me be this sort of spiritual warrior with an open heart that is healed and available for all of humanity. And what a ride. What a ride. What revelations we are shown. The multidimensionality of all of that. One key lesson for me was in flipping the script. So in other words, the things that I thought were terrible, if you flip the script, you see that that thing was one of the great celebratory activities that occurred for you. So that person that we've labeled as this monster, this person that's just so horrible, all of a sudden we see that they were an angel. If you flip the script, we see that that was when a new energy of propulsion was activated to give us the opportunity to merge our soul. Not out of something comfortable, but out of something of the seeming opposite. And so this idea of recognizing that which we think is bad is good, this dualism, becomes non-dual, or becomes back to that one if we're willing to participate in that way. So in years past, I was shown a dissociative trauma of something quite traumatic that had occurred within me from my infancy up until about first grade. Some very deep abuse. And behind that was my father. And so I was taken in one of these journeys to the day that he died. I was 7 at the time, and it was in a VA hospital in Houston, Texas. And the story I was told was that he died one morning while being in the shower. He had gotten up out of his hospital bed, and he had gone to one of those very small, tight shower stalls. You can imagine them. And that's when the heart stopped, and they found him. The water was running. And so I was taken to that particular activity. I was hovered over the shower as if I was floating above him. And I could see the water dripping on his head, and I could see his limp body on the base of the shower floor. And these words came to me: "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." They just came out of me. We know that statement, right, from that parable in the New Testament. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. That's usually something that is reserved at these funerals that we attend when we're celebrating someone who has done beautiful, mighty, wonderful things, who has been a loving presence on the earth. It's not something that we would normally say to someone who caused great harm. But from this elevated place, in this plane of existence, I was being called to flip the script and to look down and to say to him, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." And so my intellect kicked in, and I was like, why would I tell him that? Why would I tell him that? And I began to see the beauty of the contract, of the choice, the importance and value of what had happened, and how that was going to play a key role in my development as a soul. That split that occurred within me was going to invite me to an experience, a merger unlike anything I could have ever crafted or thought of. And that merger, merge me back with my soul at all cost, was going to allow me to make decisions that were going to bring so much good through me. And that's why I'm here. He played a role in that. And so I just began to say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. And the forgiveness and the beauty and the thankfulness for his agreement to do that just flooded my being. I began to see that well done, thy good and faithful servant is our mantra, that every soul is told to that. And that if we could start to tell that to ourselves now, that we would become an active participant in our merger. If you could go to the mirror right now and just say repeatedly, well done, thy good and faithful servant, then each of those pieces of that separatism would begin to break away. If you could hold a body part that you have shame about, and you could say to that body part, well done, thy good and faithful servant, that the resonance of that, the vibration of that would begin to bring healing and optimization to that body part. If you could take your diagnosis and you could say to it, well done, thy good and faithful servant, then you could come to the realization that God is all that there is. If you could say to the biggest perpetrators of your grief, well done, thy good and faithful servant. If you could say that to the person who robbed you, if you could say that to the person who abandoned you, if you could say that to the person that is associated with the breaking of your heart, well done, thy good and faithful servant, then your mission to merge your soul at all cost would begin to happen. And the healing of the heart, of the cosmic heart, of your individual heart, your spiritual heart, your cosmic heart would begin to occur. And that which is awaiting you and I, and the grandness of the experience, not only of our purpose, but the embodiment that God is all that there is, would be revealed, and it will blow your mind. And I want that for you. I am newly dedicated in this mission of recognizing God in all things. And sure, I'm super high right now in terms of my vibration and my love, because it's been such an amazing, hard, amazing week. And you know what it's like when you're at those pivotal peak experiences and then you go home. I know that. But I've seen some things. Many things that I'm going to share with you over the course of these next filmings of the gathering. I want to prepare you. I want to prepare you and get you readied so that as you watch my work unfold, that you'll have in the back of your head, well done. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. See if you can hear me right now. The love is real. Everything is okay. It's more than okay. It is so exquisite. Lean into that. Don't lose hope. Stay above the despair. Trust me, maybe, perhaps that'll work. Hear me when I tell you that you are greatly loved, that you matter, and that God is all that there is. Well done.